Motormouth Jenkins here, welcoming you to our brand new YouTube channel. Hope that you'll come back and see every segment each and every week, and I will share preventative maintenance tips and regularly scheduled maintenance tips for your car. So whether you know a little bit about your car or absolutely nothing, this is the channel just for you, where I share over 35 years of experience as a qualified and licensed service technician with truck and coach, light truck and passenger vehicles. Come back and visit us and tell your friends, and we'll see you each and every week right here in the Car Connection Workshop on YouTube. Hey, welcome friends to this edition of Car Connection. Your host Niall Motormouth Jenkins in the workshop today. We have some interesting segments for you, let me tell you. Yeah, so stick around. We're going to be very, very busy, so hang in there. Don't miss a single moment, because you're going to learn some stuff today. We're going to break it down for you and show you what it is, where it is, how it works, what it looks like when it's broken, what it looks like before it gets broken, and how to prevent it from getting broken. So whether you know a little about automobiles or absolutely nothing burger, you're going to come away with some good stuff today. Okay, so I thought I'd share this with you. I do have an older video on front brakes, but I wanted to show you a fresh one and how to do it a little bit better, because the last one we shot was stinking cold outside that day, and we were working on the G-App, and I did front brakes on that. So this one's going to be a lot better video for you with a few extra goodies. So let's walk right through it. This is the braking system to go on the 1986 Pontiac Trans Am. I've already gone through. I've pulled the rotors off, so I'll just give you a little up-to-date here where we're at. The last time we were talking on this car, I said this car sitting 30 years would be best, even though at that time I put brand new rotors, brand new pads, and calipers on this car. The rotors turned out to be savable. I sanded them with a flapper disc, and I used a special disc for rotors and pulled the bearings all out and cleaned and lubed them. And let me tell you, it was a good idea to get in there, because the grease had congealed and the bearings were naked of grease. So now we've got everything we need on both sides. I also went ahead, without your permission, I should have asked, can I get you a cookie? Glass of milk? Soda? Cup of coffee? Glass of water? Join us. Okay, here's where we're at. So something else we've talked to, let me get it out. Yeah, we've talked about flex lines before on Mr. Green Jeans, where the casings on, we got down to finishing the front four-wheel brake system. And if you haven't watched that video, you should watch that video, especially if you have an older muscle car or a vehicle that has drum disc combination. Mr. Green Jeans has four-wheel drum brakes, and I can tell you from all the years of my experience as a licensed tech, even though Mr. Green Jeans has four-wheel brake drum brakes, he will stop really, really good when we have him out this year. I know that for sure. Not as nice as having a drum disc brake combination. We will convert Mr. Green Jeans front end to disc brakes, but just not right now. You know, you got to choose your battles. Let's get him back out on the road. I'm going to give you the amount of years, not in this segment, but I'm going to look him up, and we're going to look up the Corvette as well. We're going to talk about that project, and we're getting going on that, because that car's going out this year to the shows and fundraisers, raise some money and meet people and whatnot. But anyways, when we were doing the front brakes on Mr. Green Jeans, we ran into the flex hoses being cracked. Now, come on in. Don't be shy. Step right up. Don't be shy. Win a prize every time. Well, maybe not every time. You can have this. This flex hose and the opposing side, this is the driver's side, the rubber is not split anywhere. So you go, Motormouth, why aren't you changing it? Well, Why are you changing it then? Why aren't you changing it? I did change it. Come on, stay with me now. Stay with me. Focus one eye. Focus one eye. Got it? Okay. The reason why I'm changing these out is even not because of this end, but this end right here. You can see the crimp is very rough and rotted. That means this collar, there's a good chance the line will explode out of the end here, out of here, because it's a two-piece line. This end is one crimp. This end is another crimp. It's not the same hose coming all the way through. Just so as you know. It's one line and another line in a fitting. So when they're rusted, heavily rusted like this, I can't tell you the number of times we see the hose completely blow out of the crimp section because it's loosened off. And if I was looking at, if this was your vehicle as a service tech and doing a safety inspection, this would not pass. And what I also know about these is inside this rubber, let's see if we can cut it off. Just quickly, just thinking about that. The fitting, you can't see it. And this is where the problem is. You can't see where it's crimped onto what we call the banjo fitting. This is a banjo fitting right here. Because of this extra rubber they've put on to protect from stones and road debris on this section of hose. I've never understood why, other than here's what I was told many years ago. We'll see if we can get into this. We should be able to. Is a lot of times, and this one's actually not too bad, if this is the crimp where it explodes, but it is actually in really good shape, but it's usually worse than this because this rubber casing holds the moisture against the fitting, but this fitting actually happens to be brass. It's not just metal. So we saw a lot of these banjo fittings that were crimped on and they were made of metal. Right here, the hose would let go. You hit the brakes, the line just completely separates and you have zero brakes and that pedal goes right to the floor instantly. And we saw that a lot back in the day, let me tell you. So I'm just going to throw this back in that bucket. So it has new ones on there. You don't mess with that. Brakes and steering have to be number one. And that means not cutting any corners. Don't cut any corners. You don't have to buy the most expensive parts, but at the same time, you want to buy quality parts. And that's what I've done here. These are quality. They're not expensive. I found they're not expensive. And the pads were like 28 bucks. And I got these calipers loaded with new hardware for $37. So that's a great brake job. The Flex line they were $22 each. So here, for less than 150 bucks even, with tax, you can do the whole brake system right the first time. So here's what I want to show you today. I just wanted to show you the brake pads. You know, and these are a decent brand. I know the name, Ultra Stop. They don't pay for the show, so nobody's sending us any money. Nobody. Alms to the poor. I'd gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. Anyways, where were we? Yeah, so you got to shop well. I mean, I've bought from a lot of the parts stores for over 40 years. And you know what? The parts pricing right now is through the stinking roof. So you got to shop. So I shop online. If you want to find out where I shop online, the parts are made in Canada. I'm buying them in Canada and they get delivered right to your door. So you can't beat it. These are a pretty decent quality. They even have the anti-squeal pads. That's how I know the quality. Anti-squeal pads are already on the backs of the inboard pads. Anti-squeal pads on the outboard pad. Where's that the inboard pad? I don't care. I know which way they go. You're even getting brand new hardware. to go on the pads. So this goes in here like so. Like that, into the hole. Over the top. Around the bushes. And you're in. Brand new, brand new. I got brand new anti-rattle clips as well with the rotors. Each one came with a bag of anti-rattle clips. There you go, 1 and 2. So that's decent quality, and the reason I say that is they're doing all the stuff that should be on there. And it's great to see that. So for $28, I got a really good set, a decent set. They're nicely bonded, they're painted, and it's semi-metallic. So again, easy to do. Put your anti-rattle clips in there. So you don't have to spray any goo on the back of these. They're all ready to go. They're all ready to go, which is cool. And just push that on. So I'm going to show you how to preload your calipers. Because you know what? I'm not going to put the caliper on and then fiddle fart. Can I say that? Fiddle fart? Do fiddlers really fart when they're fiddling? We're going to have to check that out. We'll get back to you on that. Fact check! Aisle 2. Yeah, you can preload. You can also buy your calipers preloaded. What does that mean? Well, these are partially loaded. So you're getting new pins, new bushings, and you also get a new bolt and the crush washers that's where your flex line goes. That's it, flex line. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to load them completely. So you can buy them preloaded with the pads in already. And that can work out to be a good deal. So you want to shop it and shop it hard because there's some really good deals out there online. Again, I will put a name in the description of a website online, and no, they don't sponsor us, but I have bought a lot of parts from them in the last couple of years. We would not be able to do this YouTube channel if it wasn't for that parts company out of Mississauga, Ontario. They have all the name brand parts that I've been used to for over 40 some odd years, and you can get great deals like this, $28 plus tax for a nice set of brake pads. And even the plastic wrap shows you the quality of the parts. They take the time they're proud of what they're putting out. So we're going to show you how to do the calipers preloaded and a couple of things that you have to check because, you know, these calipers are going down the line, you know, and their skippies are put them together. Just because there's some goo on here, see? Just because there's some goo on there, there's no goo right there. There's no goo right there. So, okay, there's goo present, but let me show you where I want more goo. Number one, this impressed me beyond that I can move the barrels in and out, which means they've put enough lube in there, but I still like more lube. I know. You're saying, Motormouth, aren't you being a little fussy? Yes. It pays to be fussy, and anything I'm working on in here, it pays to be fussy. You know why? I only want to do the job one time. It ain't a practice. It's kind of like life is now in session. Are you present? That's what we want to know. Life is now in session. Are you present? So I like to put a little more lube because this is the first thing that seizes up on the calipers every single time. And there's an O-ring in here. So you want to lube that and make sure you got lube in there. We're going to pull all the barrels out, but this impressed me to pieces that I could get the barrels out. The sleeves, the bushings, whatever you want to call them. I call them barrels, but they're sleeves. So you know what? I got them off. Let's make sure they're lubed because like I said, it's the first place this style of caliper seizes up. The pin seizes in the bushing and the bushing seizes in the caliper, and then when you're trying to do the brakes, even if the caliper is still good to go back into service, you can't use it because you can't get the bushings out. But I have a secret for that too, and I'll share that in another video. Okay, so now I've lubed that. I'm going to... That stuff bugs me when it's on my hands. If you say, well, you just wiped your hands. Yeah, well, it bothers me to have it on my hands. It's kind of... Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, your mother taking a Kleenex out of her handbag when you're a kid and and it's all crumpled up, and she spits on it and then wipes your face. It's kind of like that. You go, my mom just goobered on my face. Ew! Am I the only one who would do that? Mother would say, come here. And out would come that Kleenex all crumpled up. It's probably been in her handbag for 50 years. And then she's... Am I the only one who experienced that? It's kind of like that. It just feels... It's a flashback, all right? Let's just call it what it is. All right, so now we're going to flip this over. And we're going to get a pad. This is where I'm teaching you a couple of secrets. Pay attention. These ears can be a challenge. These two. Because if they're not tight enough, listen. The pads will chatter. How do I take care of that? I knew you'd ask. I left this here. I think this is so cool. It's a good demo. That timing chain setup. How fast you can put that together yourself is killer. Killer. Okay, here's what I do. I take my hammer and I go over to the vise and I go, okay, who's using the vise? Anybody? That would be me. Crap. Okay, so we're going to shaft there. Somebody's getting the shaft. Okay, so I put it on the vise. I bang that down a little bit. Don't go crazy. Don't go crazy. Is that a song? Okay, so then I take it back over. And there's other ways of doing this, but this one works really good. Really good, like dog chow, you know. Wunderbar. Really good. Remember that little dog? It was a wiener dog. See that? Done. That is not going to chatter. So now you can, did you want to see that done again? You have to come back for the next one. Okay, so you got a problem here. This is an anti-squealer. All the anti-squealers when I was a kid in public school got the tar beat out of them, but we'll just leave it at that. Yes, they do scream like a little girl when you pinch them. Where does it go? Well, some guys say it can go on the top. Some guys say it goes on the bottom. Technically, it should go on the bottom. Okay, so now that's in there. Make sure that piece of the little apparatus, this ear tab goes all the way inside the caliper, that it's not sticking outside because the pad can pop out on you. Did you hear that? Did you hear that little clickatola there? Yeah, that means the pad's in and it's not going to fall out. And this one's not going to fall out on you either. We could tighten that ear up just a hair bit more. So just wiggle that off. Take it back over. Put it on there. Give it a little what for and how to. Bring it back. And then squeeze it on. Sometimes I make them super tight and then I'll use these. And what I'll do is I'll just grab them here and push and make sure they're all the way on nice and tight. Not good and tight, nice and tight. That's it. That pad is not going to chatter and it's not going to vibrate and it's not going to cause your neighbors to call you and say, why is your car squealing? So now we've got the pads installed and now we can put that caliper on. And don't bother working on the hose at the same time because it gets a little frustrating. Get the caliper over the rotor. In fact, I can probably show you that. And we'll just plop it on there and I'll deal with it later. Because then you can, once you've plopped that on, then you can, your bolts that are ready to go through the caliper bracket and lock these on, they're all ready to go. So just make sure they stay clean. I pre-lube everything, so all I got to do is grab. I'm not having to stop and pre-lube. I get everything done, and then all I got to do is grab my parts and make it nice and easy. And when you tighten these down, you don't need to tighten it up like it's holding the wheel on or the engine block in. Just snug it up and then give it a what I call a little rant. So tight, and then a little more. That's it. Good. You don't need to, I see guys on them. Yeah, good luck taking it off next time. So now I have myself a loaded caliper. Excuse me. Thank you. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach into the driver here, and we're going to turn this so I can get it facing outward for you. There we go. Okay, so all I got to do is I'm going to put some anti-seize right here and right here. Okay, some anti-seize or some of this lube, whatever your flavor is. Some guys use anti-seize. Sometimes I use anti-seize, sometimes I don't. So now look at how easy that is. I'm not fighting with it. It's on. Put your bolts through. Then hook up your line. So then you're not hanging on to a caliper, trying to put the hose on. I just put the hose on last. That's the way I do it. But I preload my calipers, so did you see how easy that was? I'm not holding a caliper, trying to put the pads in, trying to put the hose on. Just load the caliper, lube it up, put some lube on here as well, on this area. Lube this shelf, lube these two ears. Same with on the bottom, lube the shelf, lube the bottom of the saddle, and then you know what? You're done. Your brake job's done. So, la joie. Just like that. Everybody's happy. Everybody's nestled in. You're done. Then hook up your flex line, and the brake job's finished. Just like that. So, like I said before, you can buy calipers preloaded with brake pads and new hardware in. This is a cheaper way to do it, and you can just do it yourself. Very, very simple. You know, the biggest thing is to work clean, work efficient, work effective, and you'll get the job done in absolute no time whatsoever. So just remember, the squealer always goes to the bottom. To the bottom. Does it matter if you don't? I don't know. I just know that make sure there is a left side pad and there is a right side pad. And yeah, you can install them upside down. You'll probably be just fine. You know, the world will not come to an end and your car will still stop. But you know what? The rule of thumb is the squealer, the anti-squealer, and what that does is, I guess I should explain it just a little bit more, is when the pads wear down, it brings this tab right here. Will then, let's use this box as the rotor, this box is going to be the disc brake, and you can see there's a gap in there. So when this pad is worn down, that means that gap disappears, and then this little well, they call it it's not actually an anti-squealer. It is a squealer. It's to let you know. Have you ever heard a car go by, and it ain't no monkey either eating peanuts? It's the squealer rubbing. Let's go to the caliper, and let's see if we can give you a little bit better bird's eye view on that. What do you think, Skippy? Can we do it? Okay, so if we got the pad, now, before someone says, motor mouth, the squealer's at the top. Yeah, we already used the correct one in here. Okay. So that pad is riding like so. So when the pad wears away, this gap goes away and the squealer hits the rotor. So as the rotor's turning, it will make a eep, 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 eep. It will squeal like you wouldn't believe, like a city bus. That is the indicator telling you we have no brakes left. You might want to get that noise checked, because that's what it is. I heard a car go down the street the other day, and it was squealing away, and I'm going, man, if you can't hear that, then you need help. Yeah, so I hope you get something out of this segment. Brakes are important to me and should be just as important to you to not only do the job, But do it right, do it well, and you know what? Then you don't have a vehicle that's suffering from NVH. Noise, vibration, and harshness. That's squealing. So buy some quality pads that have the anti-squealing on the back, stops the brakes from vibrating. That's what that is. It is actually a dampener to prevent the brakes from vibrating, and it is annoying when then your vehicle does sound like a city bus when you're applying the brakes. So till next time, come back and visit us again, friends. And for all you who have subscribed, just check, make sure you still are, because I see some weird stuff going on in the analytics. So we want to make sure you do not miss a single segment of Car Connection with your host, Niall Motormouth Jenkins. So thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one. Like, share, follow, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. And put the coffee on, because we're going to come to your house.